Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. If you're here, you probably know who I am. But I am Alex Rath, best-selling military science fiction and post-apocalyptic author, published by Chris Kennedy Publishing. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the series, the one that's probably the most popular at the moment, which is the Serpentes series within Kevin Steverson's Salvage title universe. I want to talk a little bit about kind of the reading order, just because there have been some questions about it, and because it's it's not really straightforward because it's not just the novels. So I'm going to go a little bit into that, but first I'm going to tell you how this came about. I actually met Kevin Steverson at a convention called Fantasy in North Carolina. Great convention, great people. Kevin had put out Salvage title, and I'd read it, and I really enjoyed it. And when I met him, I told him, I said, "Hey, Kevin, if you ever do an anthology, maybe, give me a tap and let me have a shot at that." So sure enough, when Kevin got around to doing the anthology after his first 3 novels in the series came out, he came to me and said, "Hey, you want to write a story for it?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely, I do." So I did. And I ended up writing about giant sentient snakes in space, which I wanted to do something different. I'd never seen it before. I'd never read it before. I'm sure it's out there. I had just never read it. And it seems to be working out pretty well. So the first story was Death of a Traitor, which appeared in the Salvage Conquest anthology. It was the first anthology published in Salvage title universe, and I was honored to be a part of it. That story introduced the Serpentes or Serpents to the reader base. It's literally about a traitor who, death of a traitor, he dies. It's not really giving away much. And I handed that in, and it was on a Saturday. I remember this very clearly. And probably 3 hours afterwards, I got an email saying, "Hey, you want to write a book?" Now, I'm a young author at that point. Well, I still am. I had only published 1 book outside of the Four Horsemen universe, which I'll get to in another video. And I was hungry to get my work out in other universes and do different things. So I wrote The Scales of Justice. See what I did there? Snakes, scales. I know I've gotten some flack about that, but I couldn't help it. It was just too good. Because it fits in 2 ways. It really does show the scales of justice happening. It continues on our journey with the Serpents, more about the Gilevians who were introduced in the short story, and it also introduces another race, the Nevesin. And I loved writing that book. It came out really quickly. I wrote it what I consider very easily. It flowed off of my hands through the keyboard, and it was done. I figured, quite honestly, I thought it was going to be a one-shot novel. But of course, I left it open for more. As that happened, Kevin Steverson approached me and said, "Oh, I meant I want a trilogy." So then I knew I had to write 2 more books. And to be honest, it was a little scary for me. Once again, as a young starting author, I'm not exactly young, but I'm young in the trade. The idea of having more books to write is the goal to me of any author, is to know that you have more books to write. So I got there, and I was thrilled. So that's the first novel, The Scales of Justice. The next story to read in this order is another short story. It appears in the anthology Through the Gate, and it is called Tipping the Scales. See, keeping on with the scales thing there. This one focuses a lot on the Nevesin and the development there. I don't want to give away too much, but it's a story that some people might have missed if you only read the novels, but I think it's a really good one for development and showing kind of the culture and how the Nevesin are reacting to the circumstances they've been thrust into. So next in the reading order would be the second novel, Shedding the Past. Shedding, yeah, I know. But it works, right? Shedding the Past. In Shedding the Past, the humans on the Serpentes homeworld of Strorix start to get a little recognition for their abilities, and they actually get a shot at joining the Navy, which I'm sure some people noticed, maybe some didn't. In the first book and the first few stories, it was the Serpentes Royal Navy, the SRN. In Shedding the Past, it changes to the Strorix Royal Navy. Now, in my mind, that was an intentional thing. Maybe I didn't explain it as well as I should have, the fact that there was the change. To me, it just kind of was an automatic thing because, hey, now we're looking at the possibility of humans serving on ships, which just didn't happen in the previous stories and books. The last thing currently published is another short story, which you really don't want to skip because this one really pulls a lot together for me. It's in the anthology called It Takes All Kinds, and the story is called Skin and Scales. And once again, I've got scales in there. This time it's a lot more out there and in your face. But once it's there, it's there. I got to keep doing it now. It's kind of it's a thing. I'm stuck, right? So Skin and Scales focuses on the humans that are coming into the SRN. And I've written a lot about the humans, especially, the Gilevians. They've been in the books, they've been in the stories. But this short story is the first one that really puts them at the center of the story instead of the Serpentes being at the center of the story. And you'll probably see more of this in the third novel, as yet untitled, as yet unstarted at the time of this video being made. But it is coming. There will be a third novel. I've promised it. It'll happen. Will there be more after that? I have a funny feeling the answer is yes. I have a little bit of insight into what's going on in the universe and a tiny little peek into what's happening in Kevin Steverson's head, which is a bit of a scary place, but he's such an awesome guy. He started Salvage Title Universe, and it took off like a rocket. And let me tell you, I am thrilled to be a part of the ride. So that's your suggested reading order for the Serpentes. It's Death of a Traitor in Salvage Conquest, The Scales of Justice, Tipping the Scales in Through the Gate, Shedding the Past, and Skin and Scales in It Takes All Kinds. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. If you want more like this, please let me know. If you have questions, shoot them down in the comments. I could be glad to answer them there, or if there are enough questions, I'll do a Q&A video, and we'll see how that works out. So once again, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.